How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man Nex here, and it's time for a game of theories. Today's video is all about one of the story's most widely discussed characters, Rhaegar Targaryen. But don't worry, this isn't one of your typical, Rhaegar secretly hot pie who's actually really Mance Rayder tinfoil theories. Nah, what I want us to talk about today is how important Rhaegar's story is to the entire Song of Ice and Fire series, and will we get to see him in the TV show? Let's check out my list of ways that we will possibly see him and what significance it will bring to the remaining story. Initiating this list, and ironically the biggest battle of the last century, at number 5, the tournament at Harrenhal. The jousting competition lasted 5 days. There was hundreds of participants, but it was Rhaegar Targaryen who unseated Sir Barristan Selmy in the final, walking away with the Blue Winter Rose crown. Witnessing this event probably wouldn't reveal details that are crucial for the future of the remaining story, but it's probably the fans' favourite scene, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out why. For starters, we would probably get to watch the best jousting match in the history of the Seven Kingdoms. We'd be introduced to countless of the famous lords and ladies from the great houses all over Westeros. And of course, the predetermined, most highly anticipated part would be when Rhaegar rode past his wife Elia and named Lyanna Stark as the Queen of Love and Beauty. Being able to watch everyone's reactions firsthand, waiting to see how Lyanna responded, it would all be more telling than any story. Exploring unfamiliar origins, and number 4, the birth of Rhaegar at Summerhall. Something I've always wondered about the prophecy of Azor Ahai is, where do people find their links for interpretation? Because if they're all doing it through the fire and flames, then we're in for some damn trouble where this legacy is concerned. Although Rhaegar is mainly linked with Dragonstone, he was in fact born at Summerhall, which coincided on the same day as a disastrous event only known as the Tragedy of Summerhall. A great fire that left the castle in ruin and resulted in the deaths of King Aegon V, his son Duncan, and the famous Hedge Knight Duncan the Tall. It's still unknown what caused the fire, but some say it was another attempt by the Targaryens to bring back dragons by hatching ancient dragon eggs. Rhaegar grew up with a complex fascination for the ruins, as it was claimed he was at his happiest whilst he was there, and equally his saddest due to the memories of the tragedy. He often visited the ruin by himself, and he even slept in the ruined hall beneath the moon and stars. Perhaps we'll see Rhaegar discover links to the prophecy in the castle's ruins. Are there still ancient dragon eggs waiting to be found? A duel to rival the fight between Oberyn and the Mountain? At number 3, the legendary Battle of the Trident. Robert's Rebellion is told countless times throughout both the Song of Ice and Fire novels and the TV show, but undeniably the most famous part of the entire war was the Battle of the Trident. It was this particular clash that hosted one of the greatest single combats ever known, the showdown between Rhaegar and Robert Baratheon. A story so well known that every child in Westeros has heard of its glory. It was so famous that after Rhaegar was killed by a crushing blow from Robert's warhammer, the site has been referred to as the Ruby Ford ever since. The prospect of this spectacle is extremely exciting, and showing us Robert in his prime would be awesome. It could also put an end to many theories about Rhaegar still being alive, or would it actually confirm them? A story told wrong? At number 2, the kidnapping of Lyanna Stark. Still to this day, it feels like we are no closer to finding out the truth of what really happened between Rhaegar and Lyanna. The version of the story told most, however, is that Lyanna was abducted and raped, which ultimately led to Robert's Rebellion. But there is so much about this tale that doesn't make sense. When Peter Baelish is recalling his version of events and Sansa interrupts him to finish off his story with her thoughts on the matter, the look on his face tells 1,000 words.
How many tens of thousands had to die because Rhaegar chose your aunt?
Yes, he chose her. And then he kidnapped her and raped her.
Also, he chose his words very carefully when speaking about what happened. By every other account told about Rhaegar before this happened, we're led to believe that he is noble, chivalrous, and loved by pretty much everyone who ever met him. As for Lyanna, the very reason why she didn't even want to be betrothed to Robert Baratheon was because of his womanizing nature and upon hearing rumours that he had an illegitimate daughter in the Vale. Did Rhaegar really take Lyanna against her will, or did she give her consent after learning about the prophecy? Why did it have to be her of all women? The number one spot goes to the prophesizing of Azor Ahai between Rhaegar and his wife Elia Martell. The prince that was promised, the hero to lead us through the long night, Azor Ahai. The mythical legend is given so many names and mentioned constantly throughout the story, but with next to no physical evidence to support their existence. Melisandre originally thought Stannis was the one chosen, but now she believes it's Jon Snow. The Red Priestess Kinvara believes it's Daenerys Targaryen, but which one of them is right? Or are they both wrong? In the book, A Clash of Kings, there was one particular vision that Daenerys had in the House of the Undying that always stood out to me, but they never put it in the TV show and I always wondered why. She sees her brother Rhaegar talking to his wife Elia discussing their newborn son. Aegon, what better name for a king? Will you make a song for him? He has a song. He is the prince that was promised, and his is the song of ice and fire. There must be one more. The dragon has 3 heads. Now, the first thing to note here is that it was widely known that Elia couldn't have any more children, as the 2 that she had already bore Rhaegar caused her serious health problems, and she was advised that having another child could take her life. Going deeper on this, in the books, Aegon, who was supposedly killed as a baby by the Mountain, was actually believed by some to have been switched at birth by Varys, with the knowledge of Elia. He has been secretly sheltered by a man named Jon Cunningham, a very close and trusted friend of Rhaegar, and as things stand in the books, Aegon is trying to rise to power and take the Iron Throne as its rightful successor. However, many people also believe that he is an imposter. Did they remove Daenerys' vision in the House of the Undying from the TV show because Aegon will in fact turn out to be an imposter, and therefore his story bears no significance on the remaining plotline? If Rhaegar was wrong about his son Aegon being the prince that was promised, do they plan on showing a similar version but merging the plot to align with Jon Snow's to show us that he was the prince that was promised and his was the Song of Ice and Fire? And did Elia Martell consent to Rhaegar having another child with Lyanna because she believed in the prophecy that could save the world? So there you have it, a few points I'd love for us to discuss. If we are going to get to see Rhaegar, then which scene do you think would be the most important for the story and for us to see in the TV show? And also, if you could personally choose a scene, which would be your favourite and why? Finally, congratulations to the winner of February's competition giveaway, Look for Lek. Please message me either on the back end of my channel or on Twitter for your contact details. And until next time guys, take it easy.